Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're doing an Umbral horror deck profile. So this deck is a really interesting deck that was actually a Patreon request deck profile by Paige, so thank you so much Paige for actually requesting this. This is a deck that I've been meaning to build for a very long time, but just haven't had like the actual engine that I wanted to build with it, because I've gone through a lot of different builds for this. I went from a Shadow build to a smaller Shadow build to a rank 4 package with Time Thieves to finally this really crazy hybrid build that is just basically a rank 4 build that just really works for this deck and is really fun. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name searched for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands, just like Paige did, for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Umbral Horror Ghoul. So Umbral Horror Ghoul is a really awesome card that has the ability that once per turn you can make its attack become 0, and if you do, you can special summon 1 Umbral Horror monster with 0 attack from your hand. So it has to have 0 attack, so you have actually 5 targets in the deck for this card to be able to go off, which is really nice to be able to just pop off with those different plays, to be able to special summon out different Umbrella Horror monsters from your deck. So we're going to be able to special summon out our copy of our Umbral Horror Uniform, which Umbral Horror Uniform is just an amazing card. This card is like my favorite of them all, and has probably the best effect that when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, while attacking a monster, you can special summon 2 Umbral Horror monsters from your deck, but you can only use effect this card once per turn. So you can basically special summon out 2 more copies of Ghoul, which is going to be super helpful to be able to go into some crazy plays in the extract. Like this deck can legit set up like 3 to 4 negates really easily, and plays very similarly to the way my Time Thief deck actually plays. If you guys haven't checked that one out, you definitely should. So this card's really neat and actually has a way to actually make it so you don't lose life points that I'll bring up in just a little bit later on in the deck profile. So don't worry about attacking into your opponent. It's not going to be that big of a deal to actually not lose life points, because smacking the opponent with this card is just not the ideal thing to do, because you don't want to take like 3k damage and then get ashed. It's just not a great thing. But you do have ways around that, which we'll get into in just a second. So we're going to be playing 2 copies of Umbral Horror Will-O-the-Wisp, which basically when it's normal or special summon, you can target an Umbral Horror monster in your graveyard or on your side of the field and make it this card's level, that card's level, which is a really neat effect just to be able to copy the level to make it a level 4 monster. And also it has the ability that when this card is in face attack position, start a damage step, destroy the monster that destroyed this card if it gets destroyed by battle, which is a really neat concept to be able to kind of destroy the card that does destroy it. It helps out the deck a lot to be able to do that if you do leave this card in attack position. We then play a small Raid Raptor package, which is a single copy of Stranglelanius. If you control a dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for dark monsters. And if you control a dark XZ monster with a dark XZ monster as a material, then you can target a level 4 or lower Raid Raptor monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negated, and you can only use each effect this card once per turn. This card is extremely powerful in this deck just to be able to get all sorts of crazy plays rolling. Play a single copy of Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing is an insanely good card in this deck because this card is a key combo piece that if this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can detach a material from one of your dark monsters and then special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can activate that effect. And if this card is used to XZ summon a dark monster, your opponent can target that card with card effects as well, which is super helpful for the deck. We then play a single copy of Singing Lanius. Singing Lanius can special summon itself to your side of the field if you control an XZ monster, which this card comes in super handy as one of the key combo pieces of this deck. 1 copy of Zaphros the Elite. Blackwing Zaphros the Elite can special summon itself to your side of the field from the graveyard if you have a copy of a card on your side of the field that you return to your hand. So if you have anything on your side of the field, you can just return it to your hand and then immediately special summon this card to your side of the field, and then you lose 400 life points, but it is a once per duel effect. We then play for the other tech monsters. We have some really neat tech monsters in this deck, and this is actually the card that I was talking about earlier with the copy of Umbral Horror Uniform. So what this card does is basically you're going to be playing 2 copies of Damage Juggler. So Damage Juggler is a really neat card because if you're going to take battle damage during the battle phase, you can discard this card to the graveyard instead, and you don't take the battle damage. And you can also banish it from the graveyard to be able to add 1 copy of another Performage monster from your deck to your hand. So being able to use this card on top of your copy of your uniform is just ridiculously good, because you can swing into an opponent's monster, discard this card to the graveyard, and then be able to special summon out your 2 ghouls, go main phase 2, which you guys will see in the test hands, and then you can banish this card to be able to you can banish this card to be able to search you a copy of Hat Tricker, which we do play double Hat Tricker as well, which if there are 2 more monsters on the field, which can be your opponent's monsters or yours, you can immediately special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field, which is super helpful if you're going second. We then play double Dangered Mothman. Danger Mothman is just an additional level 4 monster that's dark that you can reveal it in your hand, and your opponent can randomly choose a card in your hand and then discard to the graveyard. If you discarded this card, then if you didn't discard this, you get to special summon this card from your hand if you do draw a card. But if they did pick this, then both players draw a card and then both players discard a card, which can help you out a lot in this deck to be able to dig into the deck a little bit deeper and give you another level 4 monster on the field. We then play double Kagetakage. Kagetakage, if you normal summon a level 4 monster, you can special summon it to your side of the field, which is really helpful for the additional rank 4 plays. And then we play 2 copies of Phantom Knight monsters, which is a single copy of Silent Boots and a single copy of Ancient Cloak. Because the deck is primarily dark, you're using the Ancient Cloak or using the Rusty Bardige to get out your copies of your Shade Brigandine and your Fogblade, as well to get you some really neat plays. We're then playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom just to round out the deck. These can be changed out for any other budget hand trap that you want to, like a copy of Effect Veiler if you want to as well. Basically, these are just here for additional negations for the deck, but this can be any hand trap that you particularly want. But I feel like Ash Blossom is the most versatile of all of them at stopping your opponent's shenanigans. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Double or Nothing, which I actually debated on actually dropping for a copy of Upstart Goblin in this deck, but I really like the copy of Double or Nothing because I thought about dropping it because I play Raiders Knight in the extra deck and copy of Arc Rebellion, but for those weird times that you actually draw into monsters that are like Earth or Light with your Damage Juggler and your Trick Clown, or not your Trick Clown, but your Damage Juggler and Hat Tricker, this card actually comes in handy for going into Double or Nothing to instantly OTK your opponent. So it's a really helpful card to be able to summon to your side of the field with your Double or Nothing, with your Utopia Double to be able to search this and then be able to OTK your opponent with the 10,000 beat stick. We're then playing a single copy of Monster Reborn because it gives us additional plays, which is super helpful to be able to go in for additional plays. If you do want to drop the copy of Double or Nothing, I will mention you guys, you can drop it for you can drop it for Upstart Goblin, or you can drop it for Living Fossil to give you an additional play from the graveyard because the majority of the stuff is level 4 anyways to give you additional Link plays and XZ plays. We then play a single copy of Rank Up Magic, the 7th one. So this is going to be your primary way. You're going to be able to draw this out of the deck to be able to instantly summon out your copy of Umbral Horror Masquerade and your copy of Masquerade to your side of the field. And you actually do play 2 other targets, which is your copy of Silent Honor Arc and Silent Honor Dark, which are really neat cards to be able to summon to your side of the field off of this really awesome card. But basically what it does is when you draw it for your normal draw phase, you reveal it, and then you special summon a number monster between 101 and 107 for free, and then you immediately overlay it with its C number. So for example, I would summon Masquerade and then immediately overlay it with my copy of number 104 Masquerade from the extra deck, which is basically a free card, which is really nice. You play a single copy of Soul Shade Force because this is going to be the primary card that you're going to be searching off your copy of Wyastrix with your Raid Raptor package to go into Infinity. 1 copy of Numeron Force. Numeron Force is ridiculously good because it can negate the effects of all face-up cards on the field, and it can let you go into your copy of number C101 or your copy of C104, which is also really helpful, and it's searchable off your copy of your Wyastrix. 1 copy of Rank Up Magic Quick Chaos, just as an additional copy of a Rank Up Magic. This card can be Barion's Force if you wanted to, but I wanted to have something that I could set and then flip and activate to be able to go into a rank up a monster during my opponent's turn, which is super helpful. 1 copy of Dawn Thousand's Throne. Dawn Thousand's Throne is just a really amazing card that can help you rank up your cards as well. And during each of your opponent's end phases, you gain life points equal to the number of damage, or equal to the number of times you took damage times 500. So if you took damage 3 or 4 times during your opponent's turn, you're going to gain 1,500 to 2,000 life points every time, which is super nice. It helps you keep in the game a little bit, and it's a really gimmicky card that also counts as a rank up magic spell, kind of, because when a number monster you control is targeting for an attack, you can send this card to the graveyard and then rank it up into a number C monster, which is also really cool. And then for the last 3 spells, we're just going to be playing 3 more spells in the deck, which is 3 copies of Allure. The 3 Allures are basically here to be able to get you draw power through the deck, which is super helpful for this particular build. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 5, which is 2 copies of Fogblade and 3 copies of Shade Brigadine. Shade Brigadine is basically here for additional level 4 monsters, and it's searchable. And your 2 copies of Fogblade get you additional negations, which are really, really nice to be able to get you those additional negations. Because they're searchable off your copy of your Silent Boots and Rusty Bardige. These are really good. This is mainly what you're going to be searching off your copy of your Ancient Cloak, because it has to have the Phantom Knight in its name. It can't just be a Phantom Knight card, which is kind of bad, but at the same time, you really do want to have both of them because they both come in handy. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of number C104, Umbral Horror Masquerade. So this card is absolutely crazy if you actually can summon it, which is really actually not that bad to summon this card. If you open up 3 monsters and a rank up magic spell that's Numeron Force or your Quick Chaos, it's really easy to actually summon this card to your field. But basically what it does is it's absolutely broken if you get to summon it. And probably the most powerful of all the 100 and up numbers that are C numbers. So what this card does is when it's special summoned, you can target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. And if this card has a number 104 Masquerade as an exciting material, it gains the ability that during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, then you can detach a material from this card, negate the activation. If you do, send a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard and half your opponent's life points. That is really busted, that it immediately halves your opponent. It makes your opponent Solemn Judgment themselves, which is really funny. I love that effect, to be able to just negate the card. It rips a card out of their hand, negates a card effect, and halves their life points. Like, that is just absolutely crazy. You play a single copy of Masquerade. Masquerade during either player's battle phase. When an opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach your material from this card and negate the activation of do. Inflict 8 points of damage to your opponent, and then once per turn, you can send the top card of your opponent's deck to the graveyard, which is kind of helpful, but at the same time, you're basically just looking at this card and going, okay, I want to upgrade it into Umbral Horror Masquerade. 1 copy of C101 Silent Honor Dark. It can take your opponent's monsters and equip it to itself as materials, which is really nice, and also it can bring itself back and give you life points, which is a great card effect. But a single copy of number 101 Silent Honor Dark, or Silent Honor Arc. Honor Arc is really good because it can take your opponent's monsters away from them, and a lot of people don't expect this card anymore, but it's still one of the better like rank 4s in the game. I still love this card, and it's really easy to summon and just take a special summon monster away from your opponent. 1 copy of Arc Rebellion. Arc Rebellion is really easy to summon in this deck because Arc Rebellion just negates everything on the field, and also gains a ridiculous amount of attack points. Now, the way that you're actually going to be summoning this is with Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight takes 2 dark monsters to summon this card. You detach a material, and then you immediately summon Arc Rebellion onto this card, which is really easy. It does say it destroys it by card effects, but your Arc Rebellion can't be destroyed by card effects, so it kind of ignores that. Utopia and Utopia Double for the previously explained Utopia Double combo, which is basically you overlay into Utopia Double, detach a material, search Double or Nothing, summon Utopia on top of it, and then swing for 5,000, detach a material, negate the attack, and then drop Double or Nothing for an additional attack of 10,000, which is really crazy. You play 2 copies of Force Strix. These are very important for the combo in the deck that you will see in test hands soon. You detach a material from this card to add any level 4 Darkwing Beast from your deck to your hand, which is very important. This card is the combo starter of the entire deck. 1 copy of Master Key Beetle. Master Key Beetle is an old school card that was actually played by Vector in the actual anime, which is really cool to actually summon this card in this deck. You can basically target a Fogblade on your side of the field and protect itself from being destroyed, and it's an easy way to get Fogblade off the field and into the graveyard as well, because if they try and attack through this, it's a really hard card to deal with because a lot of players don't realize that you just detach a material from this card, target any card you control except itself, and then this card, while it's facing on the field, that card cannot be destroyed by card effects. And if this face card on the field would be destroyed, you can send a card that this card was targeting to the graveyard instead of destroying this card. So this card's really hard to deal with, and is just a really overall nice card. 1 copy of Infinity, because you can summon it off of Soul Shade Force. Double A Zeus, because you can OTK your opponent with this card, and it blows board. 1 copy of Rusty Bardige. Rusty Bardige is insanely good, because this card is going to be a card you're going to end on all the time to get your double Fogblade, and then Wise Tricks, because it's an awesome combo piece that can actually search your rank up magic spells. So that's that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is really fun to play. It actually turned out a heck of a lot better than I thought, because originally I was just going to make it a stun build with Shaddolls, and it worked, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. So I kind of bounced back and I was like, wait, let me look at my Phantom Knight deck, or my Phantom Thieves deck, and I started playing around with that, and it worked insanely well, and so you ended up with this, which is really amazing. Like, I'm really surprised at how well this deck turned out. It can end on like 3 to 4 negates, which is really amazing, and you can carry this to a locals and compete with this, and people will be very surprised at this. So anyways, guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can come part of Notification Squad, and definitely show Paige some love down in the comments down below for requesting this deck, because it's absolutely crazy and fun to play with. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.